Good evening, Buffaloes fans, and welcome to another edition of your favorite podcast, the Buffaloes Podcast. For episode 19, I'm your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. Glad to be here on this Friday night at 9 p.m. Actually, a bit after that. Was looking at this um, social media post, lost track of the time. My apologies. But yeah, glad to be here. This edition of the Buffaloes Podcast, as always, brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Visit Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today, as well as checking out their website at midcanadafasteners.shop. They're your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. We're brought to you by Terraco, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Be sure to check out their website to find out why they're so trusted, why they've been the brand they've been for over 80 years, and Manitoba producers have gone to them by checking out Terrico.ca. And we're also brought to you by Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. To learn more information, sure to check out their website at GordyTumelsonGoalies.ca. Of course, Gordy's going to be in the house for tonight's episode, not literally, virtually. He'll be the third guest up. We're going to have Kurt Fortney join the show as well. Had a chance to speak to him earlier today in the afternoon, as well as Gordy. And, started off by interviewing Emma Asplin in the process of getting this episode ready for this week. U18 female prep defenseman will be joining the show first up. But before we get into it, I want to throw to some congratulations to Maddox Ramage, Luke Adam, and Jaden Maw. Ramage winning Athlete of the Month, Adam winning the Leadership Award of the Month, and from Maw winning the Student Athlete of the Month. Well-deserved, gentlemen. Congratulations to all three of these players for taking home the January Student Athletes of the Month. Coming out a bit later, of course, but brought to you by Olympic Source for Sports. In terms of the games left in the Academy, though, for the regular season, as playoffs will be starting next week as all four teams in the Academy travel to Penticton, British Columbia. It's currently underway. This game is almost over, actually, at this point. Started at 7 p.m. tonight. It's the Buffaloes U18 female preps final regular season game of the season. The U18 males wrapped up their regular season on Wednesday against RHA Winnipeg with a 16-2 loss, a tough one there. But and speaking with a guest from this U18 Prep Buffaloes team, fortunately cut out due to some faulty connection, but I had a chance more so to ask her near the end, I think about once, about the upcoming matchup against RHA tonight, what it's like playing in front of the fans tonight. I believe I asked that as well in this upcoming interview with Emma Asplin, but also asked her about what her first year's been like at Pilot Mound, and yeah, seems like she's really enjoyed it. So yeah, one of, I think, the bright upcoming stars for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's U18 female prep Buffaloes. Emma Asplin, number 15, joining the show. Up next from Lethbridge, Alberta. That's where she's from, playing her first season in small town Pilot Mound. Number 15, defenseman of the U18 female prep Buffaloes from Lethbridge, Alberta. Emma Asplin joining the Buffaloes podcast on this week's edition of the pod. Emma, it's great to have you on. Just gotta ask you first off, what was it like last weekend being able to come away with some victories, ending off with some losses, but all in all, looking like a pretty solid weekend for you and the girls?
It was really good. We had 2 wins, so we went 2-2. We won against Delta, and that was a really big win for us. And then we won against North Shore, which was also another good win for us. The two OHA games, we tried, didn't come out with what we wanted, but we all battled for it. So it was really fun to come out with 2 wins still.
Yeah, and I mean, in those two wins you speak about battling, that's exactly what this Buffaloes team did. Down twice in both of the games, coming back, forcing shootouts, and being able to come through. What does that say about this group at this point in time, knowing that, I've asked it so many times, but it seems like there's no quit in this Buffaloes team. To see it come out against two really good teams, how special was that?
It was good. Like, we battled really hard during the game. We were down by a couple. We came back We went into overtime, couldn't pull out a goal, but we kept them out of scoring for their team, and then went into the shootout. And we had Piper Miller who scored our overtime winner, and then Alex Mills and Brooke Adams who stuck it in there for us.
Yeah, and obviously getting some key contributors. Has that been a big thing throughout this season as well? Seeing, some girls on this team, like a Piper Miller, start to emerge out there and being real difference makers.
It was awesome to see. She's been having a really good season for us. Those 2 games, she scored the 2 goals for us that we needed in the overtime shootout winner, and it was just really special to see her come out with that too.
For you, you come on to this year's team as one of the younger players on Pilot Mountain, coming from Lethbridge, Alberta. Can you take us into the decision? What went into it for you to choose Pilot Mountain as that next place to play, moving away from home at such a young age?
Well, Pilot Mound reached out, so I went up for one of their exhibition games in Swift Current, and it was against a team that we came out with a 2-2 tie against them. And ever since that, I came to the dressing room with the girls. I went out eating with them. It was just a really good experience. They were so welcoming with all of it. So since that, I knew it was going to be good to live here. And then I packed up all my stuff, and I came a couple weeks late, but it was one of the best decisions I've made. I've made a lot of new friends here, a lot of new opportunities. Just the development I've got here has been really good.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so huge to be able to come into a team and your first impressions being that it is as positive as those first impressions were on yourself. Has that been able to allow yourself to thrive this season in terms of developing and just being comfortable knowing that you're surrounded by, the positive vibes of this year's team and the group of girls that make up the U18 Prep Buffaloes?
For sure. I'd say they've definitely made a big difference and impact on how this season has went. They're also inviting. It's like you have a whole bunch of sisters with you, and it's just workout is always good, practice is always good. Like you just always have someone or people to hang out with during it all. School, you have people. I'd say you just thrive here off of not only just you wanting to get better, but also everyone around you wanting to get better,
Right.
and you push each other.
Yeah, let's dive into more of like the experience here in terms of outside of the ice, because like you said, I mean, it's like you're with your sisters pretty much every single day. You girls are going to school together, living in the same dorms. I mean, traveling with each other. What's that experience truly been like? Being able to see all the different places, coming to small town Pilot Mountain, and just everything that's gone into the academy lifestyle.
Traveling is so fun. We all are on the bus, we hang out, we make TikToks together on there. Just we all have so much fun, and then we'll go to the hotel. You'll find out your rooms. Rooming with girls is so much fun. It's like you already live together, but then rooming with each other is just a whole new level, and it's just so fun to be with each other. On the road, as I said, is great. Going to the games is awesome. Just being around everyone constantly is great. You don't really get bored or like upset with anybody here. It's just great for me.
For yourself, Emma, you're coming into a program where you're gonna have more time to develop here still and play with different groups of girls throughout these 2 years. Some of the same players throughout that, but you've been able to have a chance along with those graduating players and the whole team to go out to see different universities, even play against university competitions. So putting it all into perspective, has it made you a bit more excited for what the future has in store for the opportunities that could arise to play at places like those universities you've seen with your experience at Pilot Mountain so far?
Um, well, we went to Bemidji with our 2 coaches at the time, Brooke and Amy, it was a lot of fun. We got to tour their campus, just all of that stuff. We got to watch them play, and then we went to Botno and we played a couple games against them, and we came out with a win out of it. And it was so much fun. I didn't get to play that game, but watching my teammates thrive throughout that game, it was it was a lot of fun to just see that. And then seeing the opportunities that some of my teammates have been getting from schools, like Piper Miller is committed to a school right now, and it's just it's really fun seeing what I have in store to see what my teammates have been going through.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, you're still a few years away from making that big decision when the time does come. And I mean, you've had a successful season so far for yourself being a defenseman. I mean, you've missed a few games, but you've been able to put up some solid point production with 7 assists in 26 CSSHL regular season games. Can you talk about what type of player Emma Asplin is out there on the ice in terms of your playing style as a defenseman? Are you more of that defenseman that likes to carry the puck, that stay-at-home defenseman? What exactly is it?
Um, I'd say I'd say I can be both. I From my season previously, I was a big stay-at-home defenseman, and then this year, I'd say I can be a stay-at-home defenseman, but I'm also very offensive with the puck. I'd say, um, I like to create offense for my team. So, and I'd say my hockey IQ is pretty good. But yeah, I'd say I could be both, but I like to create a lot of offense on my team.
How excited are you then for the prospect to be able to continue to develop in a place like Pilot Mountain where you're already comfortable? And like you said, last season you were more of a stay-at-home defenseman, but this year you've seen like you've come out of your shell a bit more, producing some more offense. So yeah, I mean, back to what I was gonna ask. I mean, the excitement of knowing how much you can grow here in Pilot Mountain, the opportunity you had.
I know from I have I'm so excited to keep growing at Pilot Mound. It's just it's a lot of fun to go like the gym has helped me a lot. Practicing every day on the ice is definitely something that I'd say has improved me as a player. Just having like coaches who are there to help you work on stuff. Our new coach Ryan has helped us a lot. Kurt has been there from the start, so he's just been always there. And then we had Amy and Brooke, who they came in after a little bit of a downfall with our coaches, but they came in and they really helped us out. And we've just strived from that point on. So I'm really excited to keep developing here.
Yeah, and I mean, it was brought up from time to time earlier on in this season about the behind the scenes drama with the team, with this team in particular. But seems like you girls have been able to, come out of it strong. Things have sorted themselves out, and it's great to see you girls staying competitive and even beating some top end teams late into the season. Another big one coming up, kind of a rivalry that's I mean, been there from the start when these two programs have faced off against each other. A lot of history. RHA Winnipeg coming to Pilot Mountain at Blackjack Stewart Arena in your girls' regular season finale. A lot of tight games against this team so far this year. Last one, you girls got blown out against them. A lot of, I guess, motivation in this one coming up, I assume, to right the wrongs and at least make this a close game against a good RHA Winnipeg team.
Yeah, for sure. We started off playing them. We won against them at the start of the season, and then we've had some close games. They've come out with the win, but our last game, as you said, it was a bit of a we got blown out of the park, as you said. And but next game, we're all coming back. We all are putting something into the game again, and it's just the rivalry that now since we have those two wins against Delta and North Shore, we have more confidence, and hopefully we come out with the win against RHA.
And Emma Asplin, number 15 of the U18 female prep Buffaloes, Joining this edition of the show, first up, of course, that part of the episode brought to you by Mechanic Fasteners and Tools, your one stop shop for all of your industrial needs. Visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today, or also check out their website to learn more about their products. See what products they have at Mechanic Fasteners shop. But yeah, U18 female prep buffaloes, they'll be on their way to Penticton, British Columbia very soon here on a bus. The U17s apparently have already left. Had that inside scoop from Kurt Fortney. He's going to give us the inside scoop on a whole bunch of stuff in terms of what goes into seniors night for these players. Photos will be showing those later on from the U17 graduates. But yeah, we'll also be talking about his team, the U18s. Once again, how proud he is of this team for fighting through all the ups and downs they had this season with all the coaching changes. And yeah, a whole bunch of other great stuff with the co-coach on this week's Buffaloes Academy Report. The co-coach of the U18 Prep Female Buffaloes, Kurt Fortney, joining this edition of the Academy Report for PMHA. Kurt, all teams are done except for your team in regular season action. This game is going to be playing while this podcast is airing, but going up against an RHA team tonight who spanked you guys last time 12-4. It's been some tough battles against them this season. What's the mindset going into tonight in front of a packed crowd? I'm assuming on senior night.
Yeah, it's girls are excited. It's our last game at home in Pilot Mound and senior night, especially for our couple local seniors. That's gonna be they're talking about earlier their last game in Manitoba before they go off to college next year. So they're looking forward to it. They're excited. Yeah, with RHA, we've the very first game of the year. We beat them that time, and then the last couple times haven't been as fortunate. But then the last game we played against them, like the first 10 minutes or so of that game, we were up 1-0, and we're playing probably the best hockey that we've played so far this year. So we just keep the mindset that we know that we can compete with them as long as we show up ready to work and skating and are competing and battling for pucks and everything, that we're going to be have success in this game and we're going to be able to keep it close. And you never know, in a close game we could come out on top. So that's just the mindset going in, is just send the seniors off on a high note and be ready to compete, and we can be successful. And coming off a couple wins from last weekend, so we're gonna ride that into tonight, and playoffs coming up after that.
Yeah, I've had a chance to ask Gordy Tomlinson about this in the past, talking about how there's just so great to see how this team has come together this season through all the ups and downs, dramas behind the scenes. I mean, you've been there from the very start and have, stayed with this team. How proud are you from a coach's perspective to see this group continue to fight the way they have throughout the year?
Oh, it's awesome to see, and super proud of them, just seeing everything that they've overcome throughout the whole year, all the ups and downs, with definitely probably some more low points than high points at times, but just the way that they're able to still show up to practice every day, and they're willing to listen, they're willing to work, they're trying to get better. So just to see that is awesome. And then even now, the last couple of weeks, we're starting to see that things that we're working on in practice, they're starting to see those in games, and we're starting to see that more consistently, which is awesome to see, that now that we have that stability the last few months or so, that we're starting to see those things, which is good, and it speaks to the girls and their characters and how we're able to stick through everything, and they just they're here because they want to play hockey and they enjoy hockey and everything. So they're just able to stick it through and continue to work, and they're always listening, and they're a great group. So couldn't be more proud of them for that.
Six graduating players this year from the academy. Of course, like you said, playing their last games ever in Manitoba in a Buffaloes jersey. There's been senior nights already, though, for the U17s. Um, for this team, I mean, what's gone into the preparations for the senior nights? Can you let us in on that in terms of how you guys have organized things here?
Yeah, so we decided to, we wanted to recognize our seniors, which is the seniors are the ones that are, playing their last games in a Buffalo jersey before graduating. Those are the ones that we're going to be calling seniors. So if they're, you know, maybe they're in grade 11 or 12 or something and they're planning coming back next year, that we'll honor them next year. But as for the ones that are moving on to college next year and they're playing their last games, we're honoring them then. And then later in the year when they do graduate school, we'll have another ceremony graduation for them when they graduate school. But so this is just more with the Buffaloes and the program and honoring them that some have been here for a couple of years, just honoring them that way. Got some, gifts and posters that we got made for everyone, and all their teammates signed them and put some pictures and words on them. And then just a couple other small Pilot Mound mementos that we're gonna give to them, and then just a nice little short speech before each one, just before the game, just introducing them, tell some highlights and things that we're proud of, and wishing them all the best of luck next year.
Right, no doubt about it. And yeah, I've never played in a seniors night, but it's such a special moment because I mean, you got the honorary stuff. I mean, you're playing your final game in this case in a Buffalo's jersey at home on home ice for one final time. And yeah, best of luck to all the U18 female prep Buffalo's graduating out of the program, and best of luck in their next chapters here in hockey. Speaking of athletes that are still here, though, in terms of winning Athlete of the Month awards in January, Maddox Ramage won Athlete of the Month for the U15s. Luke Adam won the Leadership Award of the Month for U17 Prep, and Jaden Maw won Student Athlete of the Month for male U18 Prep. Take me into those three. What went into the decision from the academy to choose them as those honorary awards?
Yeah, so for the awards, the student of the month, that's chosen by the school. So the school every month will choose one kid out of all four programs, and they'll pick a kid based on how their attendance is, how they're doing in grades, are they actively participating in class, asking questions, are they engaged, you know, improving, getting good work, they're on time for class, they're not late, just kind of things like that, and getting their homework done on time. There's no issues that way. So that's what the school goes into. And then for the leadership and the athlete of the month, each of the four teams, we submit someone that we think represents that, and then as an academy, an ownership group, they'll pick who they think of those four for each one that they think represented the athlete of the month the best that way. So just looking at different things with athlete of the month, how they are on the ice, how they are in practice, if they're working hard, improving, asking questions, listening, learning. That's not always about the points and everything like that. But looking how they represent themselves away and represent Pilot Mound and the Buffaloes and the academy, and similar to the leadership award, where the leadership is a little bit more off the ice as well as on the ice too, but it'll focus a little bit more off the ice and in the community and in the dressing room. How they're interacting with their teammates and kind of areas like that. If they're bringing their teammates up, getting involved in the community, helping out with skills camps or whatever it may be. That's just kind of what we're kind of looking for, and how everyone just best resembles being a Buffalo and being away from the rink and all those pillars and that we're looking for.
Yeah, and I mean, coming to an academy in the academy lifestyle, it's about bettering yourself off the ice too, right? And maturing in that way. And it's great that this program at Pilot Mountain, the Hockey Academy, has these incentives for these athletes. Where I mean, the league has some awards like this. Not quite though. How special is it? Is it kind of like a unique thing, I guess, in a way to have this for the student athletes in terms of giving them extra motivation to, succeed, thrive more off ice?
Yeah, it's huge. We just want to, show these kids that, we are watching and, we are proud of what they're doing, and just kind of give them some rewards and some acknowledgement of, hey, you're doing a good job, keep it up. And, those other kids, like, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're wanting. And, just kind of helping everyone that way, that this is what we want as a program. If you're coming here, we're gonna work on every aspect, not just on the ice, but off the ice and community and leadership and character building and all that kind of stuff as well. And being good in the dorms and being all of that areas. So just being able to recognize them and show them that recognition that, hey, we're watching what you're doing and we're proud of you. And it's definitely not easy making some of these decisions because every month there's a handful of kids where it could go either way. So being able to have that is special for the kids, and they're starting to recognize it. And now there's kids going like, oh, next month I'm getting student of the month. That's what I'm going for. I'm gonna get this. So that's good to see that they're recognizing that and getting that motivation to just be that
Yeah.
extra step above everyone else.
Yeah, and it kind of points to what you guys are doing is working here, right? And motivating these athletes that play in small town Pilot Mountain, of course. But one thing that isn't small is the Academy's presence on social media. Very active. I know that you don't have much to do with it, but how nice has it been to see a place like this getting recognized with the different videos that have come out on the different types of stuff that the photographers, videographers have done down there. Like with this being your first year in Pilot Mountain, how cool has this experience been to truly see how the Academy has been represented in that way?
Oh, it's super cool and amazing to see because you always hear about everyone always hears about the big academies and the big towns and everything, and then you don't really hear too much about what the small towns have to offer. So just be able to showcase that to a wider range of audience is awesome to see because before it's just word of mouth and people are just talking about it. And even for our own kids and their own parents, they love it too because they can their kids sometimes don't always share everything with their parents, so they can when they can see those videos and they, can see where their kids are, just helps them connect a little bit closer, and then as well as reaching that broader audience and everyone else's, they can look on it like, oh, Pilot Mount, where's that? And they can go on our social accounts and look up some videos and see what we're about and see what the kind of area looks like and see all the activities and things that we do here and things that go on and things we're striving for, and they can just gives another aspect, another dynamic to Pilot Mound and the academy and being a Buffalo and everything like that.
Yeah, and I had a chance to talk with one of your defensemen, and Emma Asplin, saying, TikToks have been fun to make. Has that been awesome to see, from a coach's perspective, seeing the girls having so much fun, bonding in that way too. I mean,
Mm.
I think that's what we could call that in terms of making those videos. Like, how special has that been to see?
Yeah, it's great. It's a bonding experience for them. It just shows another aspect of the academy life, that it's not just they're on the ice or they go to school.
Yeah.
It shows that the good thing with them is they show those behind the scenes stuff. So they'll show their dorm tours or whatever they're doing. Showing all the fun that they're having, how they're connecting as a team, the bonding, the experience they're gonna have, and those are the memories they're gonna go with them forever. They'll have those memories. Talking to a lot of players, even myself, like after you're done, like not many remember, oh, that game in the middle of January on a Wednesday or whatever. They remember those experiences that they had, those bus trips, those times in the dorms, making those TikToks. Those are the memories that they remember, and that's what's cool about it. And then being able to showcase that, and then their parents can feel connected that they're right there with their kids, even though they're couple provinces or countries away or wherever it may be, that they can feel connected and everyone can see what's going on and everything like that.
Yeah, it's a blessing in a way with social media now, is as
Mhm.
much as there's, the negativity that's out there, it's cool in a way that we can all be so connected. And it's especially cool for hockey players here in small town Pilot Mountain being able to share out their stuff with parents and anyone else in the hockey world that cares about it. But three of the four teams in the academy have wrapped up regular season play. The U18 male team was the second last team to do that, of course. The girls team, the last Pilot Mountain team to be playing regular season hockey this week. So, Yeah, talk about, the mindset, I guess, heading into this one, but then having to look forward to playoffs quickly after getting on a plane to or bus, whatever it is, to Penticton, BC coming up.
Yeah, so we're all busing to Penticton. We had the U17s actually just left today because of the weather and possible weather storms going. So they left this afternoon before they play on the first game's Monday. So, but yeah, just kind of keeping them focused that playoffs are coming up. We are got a good long trip that just stay focused. We got one more game. Let's make it special. It's a senior night, last home game for some of them in Pilot Mound in front of friends and family. So just kind of making sure that focus on that, get through this game, and then after that we can kind of shift our focus, but also, having that broad picture of there's only a few games left in the season, so just got to give it everything you got, keep focused for the last couple of weeks here of games, and try to get it as many wins as we can possible with all the teams, and just kind of working on little things that way, and just that's kind of what the focus with for everyone is, just gearing up for playoffs. And the last couple teams were focusing on the last game, trying to get through it first, and then after that shift the remaining focus to playoffs so we can showcase our skills out in front of everyone else in Penticton.
Yeah, a few more questions for you here, Kurt, before we let you go, so
Mhm.
you can, get in the mindset of getting ready to, coach this team tonight, helping out with your staff. But you talked about focus and obviously got to dial in at this time of the year. We talked about how practices, you had alluded to how they were ramping up last week. In terms of the mental aspect of things, since you are a dorm parent, what have you noticed in terms of just the mentality, the feeling from around all the players in the academy in terms of what the mindset is at this point? I'm sure they're still keeping it lighthearted, but have things kind of shifted in a way, knowing that playoffs are on the horizon?
Yeah, you always notice a little bit of like a dip after a couple of weeks coming back from Christmas. Everyone's, it's days are long. It's dark in the morning, dark at night, and back to that grind that they were doing the first couple months, and then the last few weeks here, getting into the middle to end of February, now into March. Got playoffs on the horizon, so players are now excited. Get to go on a nice long bus trip. Some of them haven't been out to Penticton ever and been through the mountains, so they're just excited to see that as well. Some of them that they're going on that trip. Maybe some aren't as excited to be on a bus for 2 days, but they're excited to be out there, and then they got playoffs and they have a chance to win in the last few games of the year. So their mindset's getting a little more excited, a little more upbeat around here, kind of excited, ready to go, especially with our team and some of the other teams that haven't had that success quite on the ice, where it can be more of a grind showing up to practice and games all the time. That now there's this big trip and playoffs, and get to see a lot of teams at once, a lot of games to go. So, and then just as dorm parents, just checking in with the kids every day, because everyone's a little different. Some of the kids maybe just a little down or whatever, so just making sure everyone's healthy and going through each day, and kind of having some fun activities for everyone, just keeping everyone excited, ready to push through. And then after playoffs here, they get maybe a couple more days of school, and then they got spring break where they can go home and see families again and refresh for the last part of the year where we just practice. But yeah, it's pretty exciting for most of the kids this time of year with playoffs coming up and chance to win. So it's good to see.
Yeah, and with only a few episodes left, we're thinking of maybe going into that part of the season where there's just strictly going to be practicing, but not quite sure yet. Bus trip, it's going to be long, like you said, about 2 days. Any designated stops on the way that are planned for the girls specifically, or any of the teams in the academy, I guess, as a whole?
Um, well, they usually we'll go the first day to Calgary, and then the next day we'll go through the mountains, and depending, we'll probably stop. Usually try to stop Canmore, Banff, Lake Louise, kind of somewhere in the Revelstoke, Golden, somewhere in there, where they can spend 30 minutes, go look at the lake, go see the mountains, take some pictures. The kids always always enjoy that part and like kind of get off the bus for a little bit after being on for so long that they can, it's good for them too that they can, stretch their legs and be moving so they're not so scrunched up all the time. So they're excited, to show them kind of, especially some of them that are from the States or even the ones that are from like BC that they haven't seen the Rocky Mountains, some of these kids before. So that's what they're, just to see that the first time is see how big they are and just to have that experience to travel is pretty special for the kids. So it's up to each team's a little bit different where they want to stop, but that's kind of usually where we like to stop for the kids.
Yeah, BC's incredible too. I had a chance to go out there after I was done my semester of college last year, and yeah, it's a completely different world compared to Winnipeg, Manitoba, even.
Mm-hmm.
My God, can't even imagine what it's like for, those kids coming from the small towns to be able to see it. But last question for you here, Kurt. No matter what happens, scouts are going to be in attendance for these games. Is that something that the coaching staff is preaching, like win or lose, play your hardest because, there are going to be people watching, or is that something that is being approached a bit differently?
No, for sure. That's definitely something you want to tell the kids is, you know, you never know who's watching at any given time, right? So you got to be able to carry yourself and play how you gonna want to play at all times because you never know who's gonna be there and just maybe, there was no scouts at your game for the first two periods, but then the third period there's another game coming on after you, so they wanted to be there early, so they decided to come watch the last few minutes of your game. So just making sure that you never know when they're there, when they're watching, if they want to go on somewhere that, they always scouts are always there watching and people are always talking, coaches are talking, and just kind of making sure the kids are cognizant of that, you have to play your hardest for the whole 60 minutes, right? You never know who's going to be there. And then even after that, how are you carrying yourself? Like even if you're down 5-2, like the scouts don't look at the scores. They don't look at that kind of thing. They look at each individual player, how they're playing. Oh, if they're down five by a couple goals now, are they still playing hard? Are they still trying, or did they give up?
Yeah.
Right, just kind of things like that. Or if they're up, are they still playing well, playing respectful? Are they, they're not running the other team or doing anything out of the ordinary? Like they're still playing hockey, still making good plays. That's what the scouts are looking for. And just kind of, there's going to be lots of opportunities. People are going to be there watching your games. You're representing not only yourself but you're also representing the academy. So just kind of making sure they're all aware of that when you're out there, you're representing coaches, families, yourself, your teammates, the academy, being a Buffalo as a whole. So we want to show everyone that we're a good sports, we're a high class organization. We got everyone around working hard and we don't quit and we keep competing to the end. So that's kind of what we're focusing on with the kids. And then, you know, whatever happens, scouts will watch and
Yeah.
they'll find a way. There's lots of ways that lots of teams in the future that you can continue on to play. So as long as you got those things, that's the main thing that they're looking for.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, effort level is so huge no matter what. You can't measure it by stats either. That hard and whatever else is unmeasurable. But best of luck, Kurt, to the U18 female teams, as well as all the rest of the teams in the academy that'll be starting their playoffs in Penticton, British Columbia, coming up next week. Kurt, we'll try to connect at some point in the next few weeks. I know you're going to be busy down in Penticton helping coaching these girls, but until next time when we connect, you take it easy and have some fun out there in BCA.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
And Kurt Fortney joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for episode 19. And yeah, in terms of their team, we're probably going to have a score update very soon for you here. So, yeah, we'll probably have that after this next segment coming up. But Kurt's interview brought to you by Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Be sure to check out their website at terico.ca for more details on why they've been around for so long. But yeah, as talked about, it is senior night, and Kurt had talked about what they made for the students that are graduating, the players that are graduating. And it's pretty darn cool. We had a chance to see it first off with the U17s. Pictures from tonight's games aren't out yet, but this was Ryder Stimson. Happy graduation. Like, look how nice and creative that is. That's amazing. It's all signed as well. So, just a great parting gift for these three players here in the academy. Zane Price getting one too, and then Racklin Hay also getting one. And yeah, great to see them getting creative and putting something special on that paper, no matter what color it was, whether it's green or whatever else, and honoring these student athletes that have given a lot of time and dedication, literally all their time since they're in Pilot Mound, pretty much the whole school year at that point, right? But yeah, also talked about the great content that Pilot Mound has, and one of the great pieces is going to be coming out soon. I believe they're going to be doing a series of this, but it's like a player profile. It's a little sneak peek here for you guys on, of course, a guy that's been mentioned so many times here on the podcast this year in Carson Carroll's. One moment. That was the wrong one. Stick with me here, folks.
Hello, my name is Carson Carls. I am 15 years old, I'm from Cypress River, Manitoba, and I study at Pilot Mound Hockey Academy.
And there you have it, a little sneak peek. I believe they'll be doing a series on all the players that were featured in those videos. A day in the life, and maybe there's some more. Be sure to check them out, though, on pilotmounthockeyacademy.com. I believe is where you can, as well as on their YouTube channel. You can find them at Pilot Mound Hockey Academy on YouTube as well. But as for the past games and whatnot for the academy and the upcoming playoffs, Gordy Tummelson, goalie coach, marketing director, and head of recruiting, joins the show next, and he's going to start off with some great news for the academy, getting a player's interest out of Europe. You're not going to want to miss it. Coming up next here on the Buffaloes podcast for episode 19. Well, some exciting news to start things off here on the weekly report with Gordy Tummelson, of course, also doing this with Kurt Fortney. More so, me and Gordy talk about the games here. That's how it's kind of always been. But we also talk about recruiting sometimes with Gordy Tummelson, and he just broke some fantastic news to me. Won't reveal all the complete details, but Gordy, give us a little hint on what's cooking up for this Buffaloes program in terms of the recruiting side of things.
Yeah, we've made a nice connection in Europe with a scout and my family advisor guy, and with that, we've tentatively, or we're bringing a player over from Austria who's a first line center from their U17 national team, and so we're pretty we're pretty excited. We watched film of him playing against Sweden, and so we're going, okay, this guy's for real. And he's not a big guy, but he skates like a wizard. He's got great hands, great hockey sense. So lots of talk and discussion with Dad and the boy, Isaac Friesen, and our chief scout got on the phone today and confirmed that. I was lucky enough to be the first contact guy. And so the recruiting program starting to land some people, which is the reason we've got this going. We started this way back in May, June of last year, and of course signing people up, putting out ads to find scouts, etc. In North America and or around the world, and we've luckily found some really good people. And this is our first sort of really major signing. There's a number of others that are kind of in the works. Of course, these players will all come to Pilot Mound, or most of them will come to Pilot Mound between now and the end of May, so that we can get a look-see at them. They can see what Pilot Mound's got to offer, the dorms, the school, all of the things that we talk about, get a feel for who we are, see who they are, and if we can get a fit and all that good stuff. We're starting to lock into some better talent. Be able to compete a little bit greater than we have been in the past. So that's what's going on. It's kind of fun, exciting.
Yeah, and once again, just showing that Pilot Mound, their outreach expands further than North America into places in Europe. Gordy, just clarify with us once again. I think you've said it before on the show, but I forget off the top of my head. When can teams officially start signing players in the academy? Obviously, this kid has to come down. Like you said, take a look, get, kind of comfortable with the situation, kind of see what it's
Yeah.
like. But
Yeah.
when can we see official signings happening here in the league?
April 1st for new players coming to us. So we're going to court a lot of people in between now and then. Of course, our teams are still in the playoffs, so that's why there's still a moratorium on signings, and our we'll finish the playoffs on the 16th, or I think, of March, as far as our 4 teams go. Then there's the school break for Easter, the second 2 weeks later, and then the league allows us to begin knocking on more doors, and doors of the players that are in leagues that are within our province, etc. So we're having to wait, but we've got some feelers out, and we're quite pleased with some of the results already, and we're talking to, say, a number of scouts every day now, who've got prospects for us, and again, improvements to the teams that we've had in the past.
Well, fantastic to hear, and we'll keep you all updated as long as this podcast runs for this 2023-2024 season, as we are coming to the end here very quickly in this 2023-2024 hockey season for the CSSHL. For the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy Buffaloes, one more team has one last game to play. That's the female U18s, but we'll start off with the U15 group, Gordy, who would finish their schedule of games for this regular season last weekend in Calgary, losing the first 2 games, or 4 games they played, losing the first 3 games and ending off with a win against Delta Hockey Academy Black. Huge for this U15 team, I'm sure, to end off on such a high note.
Yeah, getting a win in there, and the game's pretty close, but we winning, of course, is part of the deal, and you try and do that, and it's always feel good, whether or not you play well or don't play well or do play well. Winning seems to make everybody feel better, and I'm in agreement with that, of course. Although I do talk about the players getting better all of the time. Winning certainly makes you feel better. You come on top. So, yeah, we won the last game, and for Mikey Kolibaba, our young guy from Peace River, Alberta. He got his first league win last night on the weekend. So 5-4, and he got it out in big win. Had over 45 shots. Got the win. We got an overtime win, and that was great. And we had a goal from a player that we don't normally get goals from. So we're pretty pleased with that whole effort. And the last 2 games we played really, really well, and won the final game.
It's one of the greatest hockey names I've heard, Gordy. Michael Kolibaba. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And fantastic. He gets his first one of the season in the last regular season game. But, yeah, I mean, you're so right. We've talked about it so many times. We probably sound like a broken record at this point, Gordy. Obviously, the individual skill, that's what, scouts look at the end of the day. But for team success, I mean, the wins are just a reflection on sometimes how this team works out there and how their process comes together. Sure, there's times where you get outmatched, but for this Buffaloes team, they dropped 2 back-to-back games where they got kind of blown out on the scoreboard. But coming back from that and being able to put it all together for a 5-4 win, also having a few wins, before that weekend. I mean, this U15 team seemingly looking like they're playing some of their best hockey of the season and showing a lot of resiliency too to fight back like they did to be able to win that last game.
Yeah, the kids are looking forward to the short playoff season they have in Penticton. It's 3 or 4 or 5 days. I'm not sure if but they're going to play in their own loop of teams that they're going to play against. So it's going to be close games and tough games, and we'll see what the kids have been able to figure out all season long, and how they can put it all together and maybe come back with a bit of a prize at the end of the season with a championship in their division, or at least getting into the finals, et cetera, et cetera. It's a bonus part of the season, and of course the scouts and whatnot are watching. And for the goalies, I mean, I would talk about this for the goalies. It's their chance to shine even more. Our goalies get a lot of work and they get to shine a lot, but certainly from the goalie standpoint, our goalies get to shine a little bit more. And because the games are being played with the competitive teams, good chances to win some games and come home pretty pumped up group.
Well, for this U15 team, like Gordy said, looking to go out there and show their stuff coming up in these playoffs in their division in Penticton, British Columbia. For the U17s, Gordy, they finished their season off with a win as well, playing back-to-back games at Blackjack Stewart Arena last weekend against the Notre Dame U17 Prep Hounds. I believe it was seniors night as well on one of those nights for the Buffaloes. So yeah, take me back to last weekend, the special occasion and how it all went down for the U17s.
Well, we got beat on the Saturday night. We won't talk about that. How's that? And we'll go right to Sunday afternoon's game, 3-2 win in overtime, and good on us to be able to come back and win that hockey game. And it was seniors night. Zane Price, Ryder Stimson, and Racklin Hay, all graduate this year, and they've been around with us for 3 years each guy. It's been super to have them. They're good kids. They worked really hard. They all got better. They really got better over time, and they've got opportunities now that they would not have had it did not come to a place like Pilot Mound, or the kind of place where you can get ice time every day, and a lot of hockey, a lot of good competition, a lot of good coaching, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and obviously, players like Hay as well as Price have been with the academy for a while here. Stimson as well, graduating both, like you said, Gordy, improving throughout their time with Pilot Mound. And for this U17 team, I mean, ending off the season with a win in OT and a hard-fought battle against Notre Dame. Huge to have these types of matchups. I'm sure, going down to the very end of the season to prepare for playoffs. How huge is that to be able to be in so many close games and to be able to win this one for this Buffaloes team to set the pace for them going into their playoff matchups in Penticton, BC.
Sure, just like the U15 kids, they come away with a win in overtime, and we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. So that's always good. Beating Notre Dame's always fun. I mean, they're very competitive with us all the time, and they're the closest team. Other than I guess the rink is the closest team, but typically going west, they're the closest team going west, and they've been around forever. So beating the vaunted Notre Dame Hounds of Wilcox, Saskatchewan, is a big deal for the little Pilot Mound Hockey Academy Buffalo. So good at us. Kids were gritty. They're going to have to be gritty this next week. They got a bunch of games, and hopefully they can kind of grind out some wins and get into the playoff round in their competitive division and come away with a banner. That would be a bonus for them.
Yeah, and if there's any team that could get into the main playoff division, it would be this U17 squad, having a really good season. They're most successful, I'd say, Gordy, since they brought home the championship back in 2019-2020. We are going to take it to a quick break here, Gordy, like we always do at this point in our segment, and we'll come back to talk about the two U18 teams, with one of them still with one last game to play here. That's all coming up with Gordy Tummelson of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy next up on the Buffaloes podcast. Stick with us. Welcome back, everybody, to the Buffaloes podcast with Gordy Tummelson. Gordy, one last game to be played here. It's the U18 female prep Buffaloes at Blackjack Stewart tonight to take on the Rink Hockey Academy Winnipeg team had a chance to actually talk with first-year defenseman Emma Asplund, as you know, all the folks have already seen for this episode. And it seems like the vibes are really high right now around this U18 female team. And we talk so much about the drama and the behind-the-scenes stuff before the season that we didn't really clarify because out of respect to the whole situation, we want to keep some of that information, confidential. But I mean, for this group to come out of it like they have, to be playing competitive hockey the way they have, and to finish off their last weekend of the season pretty successfully heading into this one, I mean, how huge is it for this group to be able to come through it all and to be doing this, playing at this level at this point in the year?
The girls' team is amazing. They had hell going on for the first couple of months, and they had 3 or 4 different head coaches, and Kurt Fortney, our resource guy, was sort of the link between the academy and the girls, and he sort of kept things together while all sorts of other things happened. But at the end of the day, the girls have stuck together. A couple left us, a couple came in. We had 2 girls come from twin girls come from California to play for us, and that was they're really neat kids. They don't get much surfing in this part of the world at this time of year, but that was probably a downer for them. Beyond that, they've played some good hockey for us, and all the girls have, they've just hung together. Good for them, and we're play the rink on the weekend or tonight, I guess, and then they'll next week they'll go to Penticton and play again in their own loop of talent, of competitive hockey teams. And we expect them to do well. Our 2 goalies are probably playing their best that they played all year long in terms of consistency from game to game. And we're looking forward to them backstopping a more energetic, an even more energetic girls team than we've had in the last little while.
Yeah, and I mean, they come away with 2 hard-fought wins last week and showing
Yes.
that they can fight through it. And Emma, said to me it was disappointing losing those last 2 games of the weekend, but knowing that if they bring their best stuff, they can be competitive is going to be a huge thing for this team. It comes down to that, I feel like, Gordy, with this team bringing the effort, and anything could truly happen. You may lose the game, but at least you'll fight in it. Do we expect that same type of fight tonight? I'm assuming against the Rink Hockey Academy Winnipeg team, with the fans in the stands as well, giving this Buffaloes team a bunch of support.
Absolutely. Our co-head coaches, Amy Ramage and Ryan Carls, and assistant coach Kurt Fortney have got the girls playing as hard as they've played in this year, in this last month. And games are close because they're playing really hard. And again, everybody's learning, everybody's still pulling together. So hopefully they can just draw on their close to a lot of success, and find a way to win some of these games coming up, and get themselves into a semifinal final game in the next week when they go out there, and who knows, but they'll give an effort. We know that the girls seem to have that kind of a deal going on, that they've got some internal pride. They're going to just do what they need to do to win, or try to win, and they're going to give it all from start of the game to the end of the game, and the weekend series.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, like any competitor, you'd like to see, your record being better deep down, but knowing the situation, I mean, how far this group has come, I mean, I don't even think they give a crap about where they are in the standings at this point,
No.
Gordy. And they're going up against a team that they've had some close games against them, but had to get away from them last time around, losing 12-4 to the Rink Hockey Academy team. That was played in Pilot Mountain. Tonight's game is going to be played in Pilot Mound, of course. For this team, I mean, what's going to be the difference this time around? I feel like it's probably, just playing a full 60 minutes.
Yeah, a bit of time between games, and we know that that this is our last league game. It's in preparation for tough battles in the playoffs, and that should inspire the players to play their absolute best. And I pushed the goalies, along with Colin Pfaffer, our other goalie coach. We've pushed them really hard to be at their best come this time of year. Like, that's the first thing I tell them when they come in September. Okay, we're starting to prepare for playoffs right now today, it's September the 3rd. So here we are. We're at playoff time. So let's get ready. Let's play this game as hard as we can, and show the rink that we're a better team than we have been lately, and then get out to Penticton and kick some butt out there.
And it's also, I'm sure, going to be seniors night tonight as well for those
Yes, it will.
Buffaloes team,
Yeah.
Gordy. So, yeah, in terms of the players graduating, this team will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players moving on. Piper Miller, Carrie Swatink among them, as well as Alex Mills, Gordy, a goaltender for this Buffaloes team. But moving on to the U18 squad, the males. Of course, they didn't fare so well last week on the scoreboard, but going up against, I mean, world-class talent in the CSSHL at that, losing their last game of the season on Wednesday. We're not going to mention the score at this point, but more so looking ahead for this U18 team than anything coming up.
Yeah, again, we're playing in a competitive loop when we go to Penticton, so that all changes, right? We're not playing against junior A teams or junior B teams. We're playing against U18 hockey teams, regular teams, and so they're gonna have some fun. They're gonna be competitive, and when this team gets into some competitive games, we've been able to win some of those, and we know that, and we've gone down to the States and beaten some of those teams. We've beaten some teams in our league when we're playing against the same level competition. So we're not afraid to go play the games. We know that we're gonna have a good game, etc. I do have to mention one thing. Head coach Ethan Martins Poole has let it be known he would not be back for the series coming up. He's left the hockey team. He's got some other things cooking, and it was required to step down as head coach. So Anthony Ferragalli is now the head coach. And so we want to thank Ethan for all the effort he put in on this team, bringing players in. He found the goalie that we needed to back up Josh Hope. Well, in fact, the other fellow Owen played more than our regular guys did, because our regular guys were sick with the flu, very, very bad flu.
Yeah.
And so he did a yeoman's job putting our program together at U18 the second year. And, he'll be missed on that team on this trip going out. And we wish him all the best going forward in his coaching career.
Well, yeah, and it's crazy how the world changes so fast, Gordy. I
Yep.
was actually talking to Ethan last week and
Yep.
setting up that interview with Calix. So yeah, I got that. I've had a chance to interview really great guy, and yeah,
Yep.
you know, the academy losing a great individual there. But like you said, I mean, he'll be missed this week coming up. This team's going to be having a chance to play against competition that's more of their tier on their level. So is there going to be maybe a bit of dedication, maybe a bit more extra motivation playing for their coach that's no longer with them, that's been such a huge part of this team, that's been there with them since the beginning of this year?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I mean, the kids and Ethan got along great, and everybody. So, I'm sure they're feeling badly, but and happy for him to be moving on to something different for him, and hopefully there'll be a few more wins, and that he's able to muster. But at the end, the team's able to muster for him. But yeah, and of course the motivation too goes to the fact that junior hockey awaits a lot of these kids if they're playing well enough and they show well enough in terms of what goes on in the games that they're going to play, and so they need to show well one last 3 or 4 last times, I guess, to let people know that they're ready to move to the next level of their hockey career.
Yeah, and just, I mean, taking a look at these standings, when we talk about the teams that they face that are higher up than them, I mean, we're talking about teams like, North Shore, right? That's a 12th place team, but was able to handle this team pretty handily. I mean, it's been teams like that they've even struggled against because, hey, those teams bring in really good talent. But against the teams like the Wenatchee Wild and the teams in the States, which those will be the level of teams more so that they'll be playing against in this
Yep.
competitive loop. I mean, how huge does that play into the psyche? Like we've already talked already, knowing that, hey, we got a actual fighting chance to come out with some wins, and we want to put on a show in front of these scouts. Like you said, that extra motivation leading into that too.
Yeah, that's you're bang on. I mean, you're a sports guy. We all know when we think we can win a game, it's a bonus, right? If you're going into the game knowing that there's just no hope. I mean, against some of these talented people, it drags on you, and it takes it takes big big courage to go out and play against those really great teams, and suck it up and get kicked around a little bit. But you do know that when you play those guys, then you go down and play somebody your own caliber that you've got an opportunity because you've played against the better guys. Come back down, and you should be able to compete pretty nicely against the next level guys down. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody's a superstar when they're 17. We worry too much about that. Some guys mature a bit later, and that's what academy hockey every day on the ice hockey, playing against really good teams, really good competition, practicing, good coaching. That's what academy hockey gives you. So you as an individual can get better. And then, of course, that transfers to the games that are more competitive, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great opportunity in front of them, and the mindset is everything, Gordy. Because let me tell you, way back, someone I used to know playing on a softball team, they go to the finals in the provincial or the semifinals in the provincials, going up against a team that they've never beat. They felt like they already lost the game before going in it, and they ended up getting handled pretty easily. The Buffaloes gotta find a way to stay mentally strong, like this team has this season, I'd say, and bring their best and believe you can win it. And maybe you come away with some magic here in Penticton
Yep.
to end things off here, as most of this team is going to be moving on and graduating after this season, Gordy. So, yeah, we'll have updates of everything that's going to be going down in the playoffs in the early stages next Friday with Gordy Tummelson on another edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Gordy, thanks for coming on as always. And we're running out of time to do these. A few more to go this. Can't wait for them all, Gordy. You take care and stay safe. Enjoy all the hockey coming your way this weekend.
Thanks, Graham, and everybody watch on Flow TV. A lot of great hockey coming up.
Gordy Tummelson, goalie coach, marketing director, head of recruiting, joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for episode 19, brought to you by his segment, of course, and his brand, Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Be sure to check out their website at GordyTummelsonGoalies.ca for more details. And yeah, me and Gordy, we were talking about tonight's upcoming game at the time because we did that segment in the afternoon, that recording. And yeah, talking about how, this is a team that's played RHA tough this season. A team that was looking for a bounce back. And, in front of the home crowd on seniors night, the Buffaloes did, in fact, make it close in this one that could be seen on Flow Sports. And by the way, if you have a membership or you have access or you're subscribed to the service, you can rewatch this game. Looked like it was a pretty good one. Came down to the very end, and unfortunately, the Buffaloes losing this one in OT. About just over 2 minutes into OT, the goal was scored. But yeah, they trout to start off this game. Buffaloes make it, of course, 1-1 in that contest. Getting outshot in the third period, outshot heavily in OT as well. Same with the third. Alex Mills was just not able to do her magic for the whole entirety of overtime. For the Buffaloes, it was Shea Siemens who ended up scoring the game-winning goal. The Buffaloes going 0 for 3, or no, sorry, they go 1 for 4 on the power play, getting their only goal on the power play, of course, from Siemens, and RHA going 0 for 3 on the power play. So, yeah, even though the Buffaloes get outshot in that one, a game where they stayed close, stayed competitive, relied on their goaltending to, get them into OT, and pretty good job on, the special teams as well. You get your one goal there, and you end up killing off all 3 penalties against a very skilled RHA Winnipeg team who finishes top 5 in the CSSHL U18 female prep division standings. So, yeah, for the Buffaloes, a season where, yes, they finished near the bottom of the standings, but like Gordy Tummelson said, these teams will be paired with their groupings, the teams that are similar to them in their tiers, and I think that's a great thing that's happening in the CSSHL playoffs this season. So, yeah, special thanks to Gordy, as well as Kurt Fortney and Emma Asplund for joining this edition of the show. We're going to throw it to a transition here, and then I'll come back with some final words on episode 19 of the Buffaloes podcast here on gshow.ca, on G-Show Productions. Well, you've made it to the end of this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. I've been your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. Special thanks again to Emma Asplund, the U18 female prep rookie defenseman, Kurt Fortney, co-coach of the female prep Buffaloes, and to Gordy Tummelson, goalie coach, marketing director, and head of recruiting in the academy, for joining this edition of the show. Just want to give one more shout out as well to Maddox Ramage, Luke Adam, and Jaden Maw for winning Athlete of the Month for Ramage, Leadership Award of the Month for Luke Adam, and for Jaden Maw winning Student Athlete of the Month for January. Not sure if we'll have February out at any point on this podcast, but be sure to check out PM Buffaloes on Twitter, on X, if you want to check out the details, or anywhere really there on social media. I believe they post this just about everywhere. But yeah, congratulations again to Ramage, Adam, and Maw for winning those awards, being recognized for their hard work and their leadership and dedication Pilot Mound. But yeah, in terms of the sponsors, special thanks to Make Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders for sponsoring this edition of the official Pilot Mound Hockey Academy podcast. We'll most likely be back next Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time. We may have to switch our schedule around. We got a really busy schedule coming up. By the way, everybody, if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, Jet Fuel Podcast, the latest episode, will be dropping tomorrow in the afternoon at about 1:30 p.m. Stay tuned for details here on gshow.ca, as well as on our social media places that were on social media, on X, Instagram, Facebook. We'll be posting the details there as well, so descriptions to those social media handles in the description of this episode. Yeah, in terms of our schedule next week, like I said, it's going to be really busy, and we're also going to be live streaming a hockey game. Really exciting stuff. The MMJHL game day returns as the number 1 seed St. James Junior Canucks, looking to continue their winning ways heading into the playoffs, looking to three-peat this season, which I believe would be the first time that would be done since the Charleswood Hawks did it. So absolutely crazy. They're taking on the St. Patel Junior Victorias. This was actually a matchup in last year's finals. They're playing in their season series finale Sunday afternoon, free to watch on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Puck drops at 2:15 p.m. and we're even doing a pregame show at 2:05 p.m. So exciting stuff, exciting weekend ahead. I hope all you Buffaloes fans out there are able to tune into these games. They can all be seen on Flow Sports for the CSSHL 2023-2024 playoffs in Penticton, British Columbia, starting next week. I've been your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you did enjoy this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads of this show. Episode 20 comes out next week, but until then, like I said, I've been your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth, giving you the salute, peacing out, and saying so long, wishing everybody a safe and fantastic weekend and a great week ahead. As always, Tyson Unroe is going to send us off with the March of the Buffaloes theme song. Good night, everybody.